Hey there, here's your homework for Wednesday, November 13th. Make sure to watch the tutorial, pause it as needed for complete understanding, and solve the problems at the end, showing all of your work. Hey there, let's work on some two-digit times two-digit multiplication. When we look at 25 times 13, what that really means is 3 times 5, and 3 times 20, and that takes care of multiplying by the ones place. Then we need to multiply by the tens place, and when we look at the 1, we really don't see just a 1, we actually need to see the value of the 1, which is 10. So we would have 10 times 5. And we're not finished because we need to multiply the tens place by the other tens place, the top number's tens place. So we would not say 1 times 2, because we need to look at the value of each number. We would really say 10 times 20, because the 1 is worth 10 and the 2 is worth 20. Then we go ahead and we multiply each of these 4 multiplication problems out. So you have 3 times 5, which is 15, 3 times 20, which is 60. Add those together and you would have 10 times 5, which is 50, plus 10 times 20, which is 200. You add those all up and you would get 325. Now, a lot of times kids forget how to do the standard algorithm, the multiplication, the long multiplication that your parents and I used when we were growing up. So I went ahead and made up a little checklist, and so hopefully this will help you remember each step. You just actually have to remember to use the checklist. So we have OMC, OMA, and what the O stands for is you have to start in the ones place. So let's look at 25 times 13. And looking at the ones place, we know we need to multiply by 3. And the M stands for actually needing to multiply. And we would have to, back it up just a little bit. And we would need to say 3 times 5, which is 15. You regroup the 1 and drop the 5. And then you would have to move on, go to the left. And you would say 3 times 2 is 6, but don't forget to add that 1, and that would be 7. The C stands for cross it off because you used it, and we already crossed off the 3 because we used that. We are going to cross off the 1 because we used that, and we don't need that anymore. Now the O, or the 0 in this case, means it's a place value holder of sorts. So when you are starting to multiply by, while you are going to have to start multiplying the tens place, you actually need to put your answer, your product, in the tens place. And that's why it's important to have that O or that 0 there. And the next M stands for multiply again, but this time we're going to do it by the tens place. And you have 1 times 5, which is 5. And then 1 times 2, which is 2. And the A stands for adding, and that's the last step. You would have to add 75 plus 250, and that gets us to 325. Now I want you to look at something. It may seem like it's really silly, but this helps you to remember that, to make sure that you actually included all of your steps. If you look at that little, I want to say it's a bow tie. When I look at that and I know that my bow tie is complete, that means that I've done just about every step. Okay, so that helps us to remember. All right, let's go ahead and look at some practice problems. Here we have 12 times 23. I want you to go ahead and pause me and work out the problem, and then come on back and see how you did. Okay, so now hopefully you've already paused me and you've come on back to check your work. So again, OMC, OMA, the first thing you need to do is look in the ones column. And then the next thing you have to do is multiply. So here we have 3 times 2, which is 6. Then we have to keep multiplying by the ones column, so you should have 3 times 1, which is 3. And then check mark because you multiplied. So check and make sure that you have 36 as that first number. Okay, and the C stands for, cross it off because you used it. The only thing we have to cross off here is the ones column, the 3, because that's the only thing that we don't need anymore. Okay, and then the O is our place value holder of sorts. And then we have to start multiplying. And now you look at your bow tie, and that's why we're going from we're saying 2 times 2, which is really just 20 times 2. Okay, and that got us to 4, or 40. And we had to keep multiplying and finish up our bow tie in the middle. And 2 times 1, which is 2, and then check mark because we multiplied. And then the A stands for add. So we have to add 36 plus 240, which would give us 276. So 12 times 23 should equal 276. Go ahead and check and see how you did. And if you got it wrong, it's very, very, very important for you to go back and check to see why you got it wrong. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and do another practice problem. We have 33 times 12. And the first thing you need to do is look in the ones column. That's what that first O stands for. Then we need to multiply. So we have 2 times 3 is 6. And 2 times 3 again is 6. So that top number should be 66. And then you put a check mark by the multiplying, by the M side, by the M because you multiplied. And the C stands for cross it off because you used it. So we're crossing off the 2 because we used that, but everything else we still need. And the O is our place value of sorts. And the M stands for multiply again, but by the tens column. So you're going to look at the 1, and you're going to multiply the 1 by this first 3 over here. Okay? And that's where this 3 came from. And then you're going to go up, you're going to finish up your bow tie, and you're going to say 1 times 3, which is 3 again. So your bottom number, the number that you multiply the tens column by, or the tens column to get, should be 330. So the A stands for adding. And after you added it, you should have gotten 396. So 33 times 12 should have equaled 396. Now, if you didn't get that one right, you need to go back in and see what happened. Where did you make your mistake? All right, let's go ahead and do one more practice problem. We have 20 times 14. Go ahead and pause me and try this one out on your own, and then come back. Okay, so hopefully you went ahead and you paused me, and now you're back to check your work. So the first thing you need to do is look in the ones column. Okay, so we're going to be multiplying by 4 and put a check mark. Then the N stands for multiply. And so we're going straight up. So 4 times 0 is going to get us 0. Okay, now we're going to keep going to the left. So we have 4 times 2, which is 8. Now I already multiplied there, so I put a check mark because I used it. And the C stands for cross it off. Cross off the 4 because that's the only thing that we don't need again. Put a check mark there. And the O stands for, or is our place value of sorts. So after we do that, we put a check mark there. And then the M is for multiplying by the tens column. So we're going to say 1 times 0, which is 0. And I'm not finished because look at our bow tie. if you look at your bow tie, that's not complete, so we're not finished. So now we have to go up, finish up our bow tie, and we have 2 times 1, or 1 times 2, which is 2. Check mark. And then the A stands for add, which is our last step. So we have 0 plus 0 equals 0, 8 plus 0 equals 8, and then 2 plus nothing equals 2. So our answer for 20 times 14 should be 280. Now check and see if that's what you got. That was your answer. If it wasn't, you need to go back in and check and see what happened. Okay, and here's the homework part of the tutorial for tonight. Your first problem is 34 times 22. Again, do OMC, OMA to help you remember the steps to solve this problem. Be sure to show all of your work. Your second problem is 12 times 31. OMC, OMA, be sure to show all of your work. And your third and final problem is 23 times 12. Again, make sure to show all of your work. And if you have any trouble, go back into the tutorial to see where you're getting stuck.